So, Jane, thank you very much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Um, my first question is, how do you feel portraying this really strong lady, but a really clever lady, I would say, because it's not only a lead lady, it's a really clever and interesting one. How do you feel about this character, Jane?
Well, I loved it. When I first read it, I just thought, wow, this I've never seen this show before. And I love the fact that it was both a mystery that I couldn't solve at all. Even when I've read the whole thing, I'm still having to go back going like, how was that? How was that? It's really cleverly done, but it's very humorous. But the best part about it is the relationship between this ex-professor and this young boy who doesn't want to go to school, because the connection between history and literature and the rest of it, it's clever, but it's fun, it's funny, and it's also quite serious, and it has empathy for the characters too. So it's sort of all in one, and very unique. And I'm not playing some sort of doddering old lady. I'm a very active lady of a certain age who's still very involved with men and fun and life, and I just think it's a very empowering and intelligent series.
Speaking about old ladies, when Angela Lansbury started playing Jessica Fletcher in Murder, She Wrote, she was 59, and you're 71 now. So the landscape has changed tremendously for leading actresses. How do you see this change coming in television now?
Well, it's fantastic. I mean, for someone like me to have my own series at 71 is just unheard of. It just doesn't happen. And I'm not sure there's anyone else out there that has that right now. But I think it's great because the older you are and the more experience you have as an actress, the more you have to give. I mean, you get better with time. So, why put me on the shelf 30 years ago? I mean, they didn't. They put me in Dr. Quinn. Back in those days, your career was over as an actress pretty much when you were 40.
You're a producer too in this series. What are you looking for when you say yes to produce a new show or a film? How do you see your own role as a producer?
Well, we have the producers that found the money, put it together. I'm not that, except in some ways I am, because when I said, yes, I'll do it, they sold the show. So that's to start with. But my actual role is more with script and the actors and what happens on set. And I think my role is to set the tone just by my own example, and to make everybody that's in the creatives and, all of us feel like we're a team, that there's no egos in the room. We're all just doing everything we can to make it work. And we are kind of known here in Ireland now as the happiest show in Ireland. Everyone wants to be on it. We get along really well. I mean, we actually choose to spend time together on our days off, and we've all become very good friends. But the great part is we all work really well together, and we have a sense of humor about it, but at the same time we really do terrific work, and everyone really loves it.
And the show has been renewed for a second season. And why do you think it has connected so well with audiences? I mean, what's the key factor for this show to be successful in this era in which there are contents everywhere, Jane?
Well, no one believed in Dr. Quinn. Everyone said, that'll never work. They guaranteed me it would never work, guaranteed. They said, sign for 5 years and we can guarantee it will never be a series. So maybe I'm partly to blame. I don't know. I think this is really connected with people of all ages, and male and female. I mean, it's intelligent. My sidekick is supposed to be a 15-year-old kid. Of another culture and from a different side of Dublin. I think people connect with being a kid that, is street smart but doesn't want to learn books, and, a woman who loves books and loves history, stuck being a professor at a major university where most people are just, running off, getting drunk or high, or can't be bothered to show up and do the homework. So, and the thing is that she uses her brain and she loves the challenge. And I think we, the audience, loved the challenge with her. And I think also there's a lot of women who kind of give up after they turn 40. They go, oh, now what? You know, I'm raising the kids, or the kids have left home, or whatever it is. You know, now what? And she has a whole new career now. She's an actually terrific detective, and not afraid of, you know, being physical, but also, you know, changing who she is. I mean, she'll pretend to be Scottish or Irish or little old lady or whatever it takes, you know, to get the information. And her relationship with Fergus is so wonderful, because as she is teaching him while they're running away from really bad people and they're in danger, and she'll correct his, you know, his grammar, or kind of tell him about something in literature that she feels he needs to know, just throw it away like that. He's at the same time really showing her what life is like on the other side of Dublin. And originally, when it was written, it was going to take place in England, in Cambridge. And because I'm not resident in England and I can only spend X amount of time there, the producer said, well, why don't we shoot the exteriors in England, and then we'll shoot all the interiors in Ireland. And then they came here and they went, wait a minute, what about Trinity Dublin? And wait a minute, they never do shows about contemporary Ireland or contemporary Dublin. And it's just wonderful, because, you know, it's not been overdone. You know, we've seen it in period pieces a lot and other things, or we've seen it pretending to be somewhere else, but not like real Dublin, real Ireland, you know, real kind of the flavor. It's another character in its own right. And I think that's also very attractive.
You mentioned Dr. Quinn, and I think you said in a couple of interviews that that show saved your life. What did you mean by that?
Well, I had been married for 10 years to probably the top business manager in the industry, and had 2 children with him, and he had a daughter as well who I was helping to raise. And one day I found out that not only had he been very unfaithful, but he had addiction issues. And then I realized that he'd lost all our money and left me 9 million in the red, with lawsuits from every major bank, including the FDIC. Oh gosh, I don't know why somebody would be calling my house, but nobody ever does. What do I do? Okay. Do we press stop and I get rid of it?
Whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't get rid of them. I don't know. Hold 1 second.
Okay.
Hello? Oh, I'm in the middle of a live interview. Okay. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, yes. All right. So what we were talking about.
About debt.
Oh yes, about really bad stuff. So basically I realized that I was going to be homeless very soon, and definitely bankrupt, I imagined. And I called my agent and I said, look, this terrible things just happened in my life, and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen next, but I need a job like yesterday. So he called all the networks, and at that time I was kind of known as Queen of the miniseries. I did every major miniseries, and I'd won lots of awards and stuff. And, you know, I was at the height of my career, and I'd always said I'd never do a series. And they came back and they said, well, we have this movie of the week, but you have to sign for it as a series. You have to decide. I got it at 7 o'clock that night. You have to decide by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then you have to literally be in costume and performing the next morning at 6 a.m., which I was. And but they told me they could guarantee it would never be a series, because it was a woman in the lead. It was a Western. It had morality. It had children and animals. And it was about, you know, and it was historic. And little did they know, but, you know, still now, which is now 31, nearly 32 years later, yeah, this is still playing successfully in 98 countries. And I'm very proud of it. I mean, it was very much ahead of its time. And no one really quite understood why, but I think it had some of the elements that had of being intelligent, really depicting history accurately, caring about people, finding people who are making bad choices, and what their mindsets were, and how Dr. Quinn managed to learn herself whilst helping the community figure it out. I mean, you know, Harry Wilde is nothing like Dr. Quinn, but in some essence it is. It's intelligent, very entertaining. We're much more comedic in Harry Wilde than Dr. Quinn was, although we, you know, got a little comedy in there from time to time. But I think, you know, what's happened is I think a lot of Dr. Quinn fans who were waiting for another Dr. Quinn for a very long time have suddenly gone and tried Harry Wilde, and they've gone, wow, we love this. So I think a lot of people who love Dr. Quinn have just decided to give Harry a chance.
And you've said too that you've been offered more work now than ever. And it makes sense because you have now 50 years experience in the job. I mean, why do you think this is happening to you right now? Why do you think you're getting more offers than ever?
Maybe the movies I'm making are doing well, I would imagine. I mean, even during COVID, my agent said I was the only actress he had that was working consistently. And we went, how's that? And I think because I'm not afraid of playing very different characters. So I did a movie, which I hope you get to see one day, called Ruby's Choice, about a woman with dementia and Alzheimer's. And it's a wonderful movie. I made that in Australia. It's won lots of awards and things. And it's now doing some film festivals. And then I did a lot of comedy in America with Chuck Lorre. I did The Kominsky Method. It's a wonderful show, playing Alan Arkin's love interest, and he's in his 80s. And Chuck Lorre said, do you mind aging up to 80-something? I said, no problem, I can do that. And, you know, because I haven't sort of done everything to try and look like I'm 30, I've got plenty of parts of my face that will move, and, you know, lines that can be drawn into, and I put a grey wig on, I'm ready. And I love to do comedy. So then he put me in a thing called Be Positive as well. And then I did for Lifetime, it's coming out this week in America, a really good movie with Joe Lando called Christmas Spark, which I hope you get in Spain, because people are going to love that one. It's really, really good. And yes, I've been offered, there's another series to do straight after this one, if I want it. Which I would be the lead in. And they're even talking now about, you know, maybe am I interested in a season 4? So 3, whatever they're calling it, you know. So yeah, it's just an amazing blessing. And mercifully, I don't consider it work. I just love it. I just think it's so much fun. And every day I'm working on material with people who are really good. And I just feel, okay, you know, we can make this even better. And I think we are. I mean, the new series we're doing right now is even better than the first one. So it's exciting. And, you know, a lot of people would say, why are you working when you don't need to? And I would say, because what else am I going to do? I wander around the house and just say, oh, I really should get rid of that, sell that, repair this. And and my kids are all very creative, and they're all, you know, wonderful, and they love coming and being part of what I'm doing and seeing it. And I think it's exciting to let people know that, you know, life is not over at 70. In fact, for me, I think it's just beginning.
Yeah, I think we have time for a quick last question. I'm really interested in the relationship between directors and actors. How do you like your directors? How do you like them to be with you on the set, especially? Well,
you know, it depends on what we're doing. But on Harry Wilde, for example, our budget is not huge. So we are now doing 6 episodes at the same time. So people always think we film things, one thing, you know, the beginning, the next scene, the next, no. Yeah. First of all, that never happens anyway. But, you know, for expense and just to be sensible, we're doing everything that happens in one location of all 6 episodes at once, etc. What I love about Rob Quinn is he has literally come up through the ranks from being an AD. So he understands the logistics really well. And he really knows how to cast really well. And I think he knows how to help the actors with the staging so that we can do it on time and, but make it interesting, but really leaves very much of the performance to us. And I have this thing that I've been doing on Harry Wild called the freebie, which does not normally exist in movies. And the freebie is when the director and everyone says, yeah, we've got it. That was perfect. We're ready to move on. We got it. And then I say, can I have a freebie? And they say, what's that? And I get just turn the thing. And then what I do is now I just throw it upside down and backwards and see where it lands. And then there's always something in a freebie that they go, wow, oh my God, that was amazing. That was different. But that's great. That's going to work so well. So we have a sort of a kind of a freebie thing that goes on here. and it really frees up the actors because everyone wants to please and wants to get it right, and the camera and the marks and the light and the words and all of that. But then once you've got it, then you have this ultimate freedom to play with it.
Okay, Jane, I think our time's up. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Good luck with the series.
Thank you.
Bye.
I hope it does well in Spain.